Alright, traders, here you are, your first episode of It Came from the LCS. This is the Utah Comics Crew's weekly show filmed in and around Utah comic shops. This first episode, we had a lot of technical issues, and we're aware of those, but I promise we're working to work out the kinks and hope to grow into a more polished show soon. We would like to field questions from you, the viewers, so if you have any questions for the crew, just let us know and we'll get them answered. And of course, we always encourage you to support your LCS. In the rare case that you don't have one, myself, Greg, or the Prowse brothers are happy to help you get your books. Feel free to contact any of the shops you see in the show, and we'll try our best to get you the best contact information for these shops. So here you go, episode number 1, Tales from the LCS. Alright, traders, we are at Black Cat Comics. You've met Greg a couple times on the channel. He's expanding the store, and he's got the largest back issue selection, I think, of any comic book store in Utah.
One of two people that got that.
Wow.
Yes.
Yes.
Please.
There you go. See?
Oh, I love it.
All right.
Love it.
So we'll introduce you to Greg. How long you been doing this, Greg?
Hey, we are coming up on 17 years being here doing this. In May 5th, it'll be 17 years.
And that was your original location, right?
That was the original location. We came over here.
Everything beyond the kill floor.
Yep.
Is the original location.
And we came over here because we needed more room. And now we're going back over there and here because we need more room.
All right, so this is going to be our main filming location. If you guys have any questions for our panel of experts, just leave them in the comments below, and we'll be glad to get to those.
AKA, who gave this man a sharp instrument?
All right, so we tried this last week, and we had some issues, technical issues, so we're going to try it again. One of the questions that comes in a lot is about how we price comics, and I've covered this a couple times, and Greg does it a little bit differently. And after our conversation last week, I've decided that's going to be kind of what I'm going to be doing going forward. I like some of the things that he said, so we're going to try to recapture a little of the magic that we had on the lost video. So, Greg, how do you price your comic books in the store?
Well, as we were saying, I use the Overstreet guide. I won't go by eBay. I won't go by, anything like that. I just don't feel they're real prices. Quote unquote market price can be one thing 1 minute, and then like literally the next day it can be a completely different situation. And I don't think it's fair to charge somebody the eBay market price because more often than not, they're pretty inflated prices. And if somebody is investing in them or speculating or something like that, they get a book from me that I'm charging eBay prices for, which, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, $40 for this brand new book that just came out. And then they try to flip it, which more than likely they're going to try and do if it's a hot book, Then all of a sudden they have by the time they get it and so on and so forth, blah, 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 and get it listed, get it sold, they're taking a loss, and I just don't feel right about that.
Okay, so it's not that you're against the FOMO pricing or current market value. It's just you think as a retailer,
yeah,
it does your customer disservice.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Because I don't, it's the market value again is a different thing than the actual value. Market value isn't going to stay. Market value changes constantly, and most times I think it's really overpriced. But for a retailer, that's what I think. But again, like I've said before, if there's people have their holds filled, they've got everything in their pull list and other thing. The people that come in grab it off the shelf. At the end of the day, if I get 20 copies of something that's a $4 book that's selling on eBay for $15, yeah, damn right I'm gonna pull a half dozen and put it up there. But that's only after my regulars and everything get what they need. So I think that's only fair.
So you guys have seen this before. Greg has a large selection of current issues, Marvel, DC, and a huge selection of indie books. So I've been coming here for, man, almost 2 years now.
Yeah, it's
And
been a bit.
I've recently started buying a lot more variants, the 1 in 10s, the ratio variants. What is your philosophy in pricing those ratio variants? Because you price them higher than cover price, but you're nowhere near what that FOMO or that fair market value price is.
Yeah, yeah. Well, first and foremost, when I started the store, God, almost 17 years ago, I wanted to make a shop that if I walked in, this would be what I would like, as a customer. So I look at it from a customer and a retailer, and that's tough to do that sometimes.
Right.
But, if it's a 1 in, 25 cover ratio, I think $25 is just too much. 1 in $100 is way too much. The 1 in 200s, it's ridiculous. It's crazy. I'm not going to charge $200 for a variant unless it is like way up there,
Right.
So what I essentially do with that is it's like a 1 in 10, 1 in 15, something like that. I do them at $8.
Right.
1 in 20, 1 in 25, I do them at $10. From there on up, it's pretty much half of the ratio amount. So 1 in 50, I do 25. 1 in 100, I'll do 50.
So I'm getting your 1 in 1,000 Berserker for $500.
That's on eBay right now. If you'd like to go find it. That's the only reason I ordered 1,000.
Right.
That's just how I believe in pricing them. If there's like a crazy premium like that 1 in 1,000,
right.
I stuck it up on eBay. You bet I did.
And let the market determine the price.
Let the market determine the price. Yeah, I put it up, as close to what everybody else is doing or best offer. So if you give me a good offer, if somebody gives me an offer and says, "Hey, man, I'll, give you $1,800 for this," I'll be like, "Well, what's your address? Let's do it."
Right.
Sure. I'm not going to hold out for the best price on eBay. That's not how it works. Yeah, it's that kind of stuff is, I think the 1 in 1,000 is 1 in 2,000, something like that. It's a little bit different.
Right.
The only other things like that I really price at market value are like the Xenoscope ones, because they set their market value.
Right.
So 1 in 350 or whatever is, or the 350 print run is $25 or $20, something like that.
Right.
I just go by their prices on those, but otherwise, yeah, I just kind of usually split them right down the middle.
Okay. Well, there you go, guys. That's how Greg does it at Black Cat Comics. If you have any questions, or if you'd like to grab a book that you see on the show from Black Cat Comics, just give Greg a call, and we'll throw up an overlay with his information. So, Greg, you do more independent comics than anybody else. Uh-huh. Have you always been into indie comics? Was that your thing growing up?
Yeah. I loved all the mainstream stuff, the Marvel, the DC stuff. That's what I grew up with.
Right.
But I'd say in the 80s, I kind of discovered a lot of weird indie stuff. Cry for Dawn and Faust, and like all the, Black Kiss, and like all the stuff that you're not supposed to read when you're a teenager.
Right.
But yeah, it kind of got me into it. Dead World, stuff like that. I was always a horror guy. And when I opened up here, I just thought, hey, man, all I do is comics. I don't do gaming. I don't do cards, anything like that. So, yeah, let's order as many comics as I can, man. I'm trying to support the indies.
Well, you do certainly have more indie comics than anybody in our area.
Yeah,
probably any store I've ever been to.
Well, and that's what I love. I love comics. Walking Dead was an indie book. Now it's huge. Saga was an indie book. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was an indie book. You don't know what's going to happen with this stuff.
True.
And, I always think it's good to get on board initially and immediately, because, otherwise, years down the road, if it becomes huge, you're not going to find it. And it's going to cost you a fortune.
Yeah, all those people struggling to get Something's Killing the Children #1 right now.
Right, yeah.
And that's only, 2 years old? Not even that.
That's just, that's what, 2 years? 2 years?
A little over a year.
Yeah, it's not even 2 years. And, you know, I mean, a lot of that I think is kind of a victim / bonus of circumstance, I guess. You know, Boom's warehouses were closed for a while because of Corona. We couldn't get any reorders. So, you know, not to mention the fact that it's a great book. So, you know, yeah.
It is a great book.
Yeah, so there's a lot of kind of the perfect storm of collectability, I guess, there. So
Find it. I'd be down to sell one.
So it's not pricey or hard to get, really.
oh, dude.
From a super old case.
Oh, geez, man.
What you got, Jace?
New Avengers #2. It's not hard to get.
Oh, sweet. It's a Century cover.
Yeah, that's the variant for the supposed death of Carnage.
What?
Isn't that a Quesada cover?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
he was dead for like 5 years.
Quesada was? That's crazy.
Yes.
That's crazy, man. How did he get back?
It's like, it's not hard to get, but it's one of those ones that I
9.8.
just always have in like my searches.
That one might be worth reholdering.
I'm going to reholder it.
For sure.
It's old. And I don't like it.
All right, traders. So we're inside of the Nerd Store at the Valley Fair Mall, and we'll take you around a short tour. We're here with Kenny. He is our comic book guy from the Nerd Store. Nerd Store is owned by the Prowse brothers, so they've got the Nerd Store and Dr. Bolt's, and about 4 or 5 other things in the works, from what I hear. So
About, roughly, yeah.
yeah. So what are we reading this week, Kenny?
Oh man, my favorite book for this week was definitely ENIAC #1. It's the first book from Bad Idea. There's a computer that is, at the time, it's just kind of like figuring out basic bombing routes and stuff, and it starts to evolve into how to do the nuclear bomb, and then it evolves even further into telling them to drop the second bomb. So the second bomb in this world was dropped without authorization from the president. It was dropped on ENIAC's authorization. And the story picks up from there. It's a rogue AI and someone's stuck.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
so that's my absolute favorite book from this week.
All right, so I have, of course, bought ENIAC.
Uh-huh.
Nerd Store is a retailer.
Yep.
And for people not familiar with Bad Idea, they've got strict rules with the retailers as to how many they can sell, even what price. They can't sell above cover price for the first 30 days or something.
Yeah, actually the day after ENIAC release, they had already banned a retailer from their list.
Yeah, I saw that.
Because they were selling above cover price. So you are required to sell above cover price, or else you lose your rights to sell Bad Idea. It's as simple as that. They have several other rules, such as a strict limit of 1 per customer. So we even took that a step further, where everyone who buys ENIAC has to make an account with us so that we can track who has bought ENIAC 1 already. Yeah, they're tough, man. They're tough.
Okay, and so the Nerd Store is a Bad Idea store. So there's only select retailers across the nation that are allowed to carry Bad Idea books, and we're lucky to have one here in Salt Lake. You've read the book, obviously.
Yep.
How do you, where do we think, where would you say this is going to fit in to our indie books when we're talking, you know, Ice Cream Man and Ha Ha, Department of Truth? It sounds like it's kind of in that niche a little bit.
It's a little bit in Department of Truth's niche for sure. And fitting in with all of the rest of those, I don't know. You just listed some amazing books.
Right.
We're 1 issue deep on this. We don't know how it's going to end up. But like I said, this week was actually really stacked, and it was my favorite book. So I can see it fitting in really well. The other cool thing is, all of Bad Idea's books are miniseries or one-shots, and I believe this is a 4-issue miniseries. So
Right.
so it'll be done fairly soon, and they're only releasing 2 books a month. So Bad Idea is going to move fairly quick, and it's affordable to get all of the books if you buy firsthand from authorized reseller.
Right. And the nice thing about this, we'll pan over real quick, you can kind of see the Bad Idea display over there. So they've actually got, this is Friday that we're filming, and they've got several copies left.
Yes, we have several copies of the not first printing.
Right, and that's because there was only 1 per customer. So
Yes, it was 1 per customer, and then when they announced the first printing, or after orders came into the first printing, they had to actually cut orders on it. So we got the first printing and the not first printing the same week. So you can tell the difference because ENIAC specifically has a black title on the not first printing, and it has a white title on the first printing. We are out of the first printing, unfortunately.
Okay, so let's talk about that real quick. So the term that you're using is not first printing. I don't know if that's their marketing.
That is what it says on the back, not first printing. Because
so they do a first print, and then it's open print after that.
Pretty much. The reason being, since another one of their policies, they're not going to make trade paperbacks or anything.
Oh, okay.
So they do need to keep the singles in print, but they don't want you to be going out and getting another cover for a third because they're not doing variants. The only real variation is the first print has the white title and the not has the black title. They don't want to do 30 different variants that you need to go out and you need to find all of these variants. You know, I mean, Strange Academy is kind of the example I'll use. Number one, there's 8-9 printings of that and 8-9 different covers of that.
Right.
So that's what they're trying to stop, is just going out and buying 500 different copies. And again, because it's one per customer, that helps a lot.
And one thing that's really interesting with the way they're doing it is I've seen, you know, I'm a flipper. I sell online,
Right.
And I've seen a lot of ENIAC number one, not first printings, selling for $100 plus on eBay.
Yeah.
And this is the first time that a book's been selling that high on the secondary market and still on the shelves at cover price in the comic book store.
I mean, a lot of it is people not being close to a bad idea store.
Right.
No, I think for the first wave they did 100 or so. There's just not a lot of places selling bad idea. It's not easy to get.
Right. Cool. So that's ENIAC number one. That's been pretty hot. What about our main, like the big three, Marvel, DC, and Image? What are we looking at this week?
Me personally, the big one from Marvel this week was gonna probably be Demon Days X-Men, Peach Momoko's book that she is writing and doing all of the art for.
Right.
It's one that I haven't read yet, but it was one of the ones that I was most excited for this week for sure, just because the interior, it's going to vary by taste for sure. I love the interiors. They are very manga anime-esque. So I'm super excited and really happy about that. But a lot of people aren't digging the art, but that's just because style choice.
They actually, and it's funny because by the time they get to this part of the video, our viewers,
Right.
I will have already had this discussion with Greg up at Black Cat. I love the cover, all the covers. I think she did a fantastic job. I'm not really into the interior art style for me. It's not my thing, but the story's really good.
Yeah, I read the preview in what was it, King of Black 4?
Right.
I read the preview and I dug those pages. So that's kind of what I'm basing the interior art off on this. I flipped through it a little bit. So I like that style. But it is definitely a style choice that is not going to be for everyone.
I think for sure. I mean, and the story is good enough that you don't mind so much a different art style.
Right.
So I am going to stay on the book. I think she's doing a good job with it. And I think it's going someplace
Yeah, I
pretty
believe they just
interesting.
announced the next one with Black Widow in it.
Yeah.
So that's my Marvel. My Image is by far Nocterra this week. I really enjoyed Nocterra. It was my second favorite book behind ENIAC. The world goes dark, and people have to be transported in light. Because if you're outside in the dark for more than 10 hours, you start to transform, and that's everything. That's the animals. That's the plant life. Everything that is alive starts to change after 10 hours in the dark. So it was a really good book. Nocterra is a transporter. She has this big rig with UV lights in it and stuff to keep people safe, so that you can travel a long distance and not start to change. That was definitely my favorite Image book of the week.
Cool.
It's fantastic. The art is incredible. Scott Snyder's writing it. It's got some really good quality on it. I highly recommend it. And it's another one that the Nerd Store has an exclusive of. So we have an exclusive cover of that one, and
That was nice.
It truly is one of my favorite covers. I know I sound like I might be a little bit of a shill here, but I absolutely do love the cover of Noctera that we have.
Well, you guys knock it out of the park with your covers.
We-
I mean, you
we
just
try.
do. The ones that you do with Hive.
Yeah.
Every
this
time.
is a Hive
Yeah.
collab as well.
Every time it's a home run.
Yeah.
All right, and then I know not much from DC.
Yeah, I mean, I believe we got the.
Infinite Frontier Zero came out.
Yeah, that's the big release for that one. That's picking up a little bit of picking up the pieces after Death Metal. We're seeing where Wonder Woman is and what her situation is right now. I believe we start seeing the Magistrate do some stuff in the Batman stories.
Right.
Yeah, we do start to see some movement after Future State, where, you know, Future State's a future story. We don't know how much of that is going to hold. We know that it's at least a peek into the future, but we'll see. It's definitely something to pick up if you've ever been interested in DC or anything. That's definitely a big pickup point right there.
And then Batman 106, of course, has the first appearance of a new character. I didn't buy heavy into that, but I know some spec people that bought real heavy into that.
Yeah.
So that's another big DC. So that's Kenny, folks, and he'll be with us through this ride. And if you have questions for Kenny about any of the books that he's mentioned or anything that you want to know about comic books, just hit us up, and we're going to do some sit downs and answer your questions as well. All right, traders. So real quick, we're here with Charles. Charles is the co-owner of the Nerd Store and Dr. Volts.
Yep. And Wasatch Comic Con.
And Wasatch Comic Con. I almost forgot about that. So
I got a lot going on.
So Wasatch Comic Con, just for those of you that are not familiar, Comic Con is for the creators.
Yeah, it's a creator-centric convention. So yeah, Wasatch was one that we designed because we're fans, and I got sick of only seeing celebrities at the local shows and not seeing any comic creators. And so we decided to bring in creators of our own. So we started our first year with Kevin Eastman, about 20 other guests that year as well. Blanking on names because it's been a busy month. Next year we went to about 30 different guests. And the cool thing that we do, because of the way we do it, we're able to get the facilities for free and the security for free. So we pass all of that on to the attendees, and it's a free to attend show. So you can come, hang out, meet all the comic guests you guys want, get all your stuff signed. It's all free.
So at Comic Con, the way the comic gods intended.
That's right. That's the intent.
All right. And so you've got your hands in the Nerd Store in Valley Fair Mall, and Dr. Volts. Where are we? Mill Creek.
I think that's technically the city. Yeah.
Okay. So
2043 East, 3300 South for Dr. Volts.
And if you guys have been following me for a while, you know that Dr. Volts has always been my LCS. So Dr. Volts has been around for 20-something years, and you
31 this year.
Oh yeah, Dave had it for 20-something years.
Dave had it for 20-something years. We're officially the fourth owners.
Wow.
Of the great Dr. Volts.
And they are the ones that are bringing us all those cool variants that I've been posting. You guys recently had a huge sale with the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
Last Ronin.
Last Ronin number 2 just came out. We're nearly sold out of it.
Nice.
We just launched Cult of Dracula in conjunction with our buddies over at Hive on the website. That one's doing really well. And then we just launched our own toolbook as well. So we did an exclusive for the Rock and Roll Biographies toolbook. And that one sold out on our website in 2 days.
Very cool.
We'll have some for the local guys when it releases, but we're holding off. We're holding off till release.
All right, so that is Charles. His brother Roger is his partner.
Correct.
And
you won't see much of him. He doesn't come around often.
Yeah,
he does a lot of back end stuff. I'm the day-to-day upfront guy.
All right, so now you know who to blame.
That's right.
You got a face. Well, behind the mask, there's a face there. I promise. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
This is James with Hive Comics. Say hi, James. All right. And he is unpackaging what I've been talking to you guys about. Now, who did that?
Maria Key.
That is a key?
Yep. Yeah, that one's a personal.
That's very cool. There you go.
Cult of Dracula, Maria Key. By the horns, Maria Key.
That one's killer. You guys have her on exclusives for next year or so at least, right?
Quite a while.
Nice. Greg, these are the Maria Keys I was telling you about.
Oh, wow. Oh, my God. Those are beautiful.
And she does the coloring herself, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Her line work is spectacular.
Beautiful, man.
Like the line work in the hair. Like that's just crazy.
That's so pretty. Thanks, you guys.
Bye, see you later.
See ya.
So we'll be seeing a lot of exclusives from Hive Comics from this artist.
Ooh.
It is very next level though.
Whoa. Yeah. Thank you, Eric.
You
Thank you
betcha.
so much.
There you have it, traders. Your first episode of It Came from the LCS. Remember, this show is about you, it's about the collectors, and it's about what we can bring to the table. So if you have any questions for the Hive guys, Greg at Black Cat Comics, or the Prowse Brothers from Nerd Store and Dr. Volt's Comics, shoot us a message and we'll make you part of the conversation. Remember to like, comment, and share. And Hulk smash that subscribe button for more of these episodes and more long-term comic book content. Till next time, traders.